And so I'm going to segue right now to topic 2, post-traumatic stress disorder. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a psychiatric disorder that may occur in people who have experienced or witnessed a traumatic event, such as a natural disaster, a serious accident, a terrorist act, war combat, or rape, who have been threatened with death, sexual violence, or serious injury. PTSD has been known by many names in the past, such as shell shock during the years of World War I and combat fatigue after World War II. But PTSD does not just happen in combat to veterans. PTSD can also occur in people, this is important, of any ethnicity, nationality, or culture at any age. PTSD affects approximately 3.5%, and this is as today, of the United States adults every year. And it is estimated 1 in 11 people will be diagnosed with PTSD in their lifetime. Women are twice as likely as men to have PTSD. 3 ethnic groups, US Latinos, African Americans, American Indians, are disproportionately affected and have higher rates of PTSD than non-Latino whites. We all know PTSD is commonly associated with veterans, yet PTSD has been identified with other groups such as been described above. So let's talk. Why can't people identify PTSD with these groups, meaning us, and how can we address these issues to the populace? So your thoughts?
Well, I'll answer what, from my perspective, is I believe that it's not convenient. Basic, that's it. It's just not convenient for them to associate PTSD with our lives because people get reparations for that. People in the military, they get paid lifetime. Everybody, they get, they get some type of repayment for their illness. And they would have to pay each and every African American citizen that there is, because we all suffer from PTSD. So it's totally out of convenience. That's my opinion.
Yes, I'm a veteran, so I know. I'm not getting paid for PTSD. I'm getting paid for other injuries that I got. But yes, you're right. I get paid for my injuries. Yes. Steph?
And then in the family, when it comes to PTSD and our children and our parents, a lot of times it's not identified. We don't even know that we've been even traumatized. And one of the reasons why is because we are so desensitized to what is happening to us as a people in our families, in any institution in this country that we walk into. We become desensitized to it. I know children who have seen their best friends killed right in front of them. And for them, that's normal. And that's an atrocity in this country, that a young person would see anybody, much less their best friends, get killed right in front of them and not know that they...
And they take their lives from each other.
Yeah, they take each other's lives.
Like it's no
And
big deal.
yeah, and then as a result of us getting beaten as slaves, our parents thought that's the way you're supposed to discipline children. So a lot of us got beaten, and it does not work. Beating does not work. It didn't work for the slaves. It never did. Yeah, they get beaten, and then they keep getting beaten because they still trying to get away from this trauma and these horrible situations that they find themselves in. But our children these days, especially in what is the Z generation, or what generation?
I think we're at A now. We're at A.
Oh, we're back. Kids are desensitized to a lot of stuff that happens right in front of them and in their own homes. And I'm not talking about just the racism and the beatings from parents or whatever, but the domestic violence that our children have to experience. And they don't get any type of reparation. They get no type of help as far as mental illness. They don't get that. So PTSD is very prevalent in our communities, and in our homes, and we don't even recognize it or acknowledge it. And then another thing that has happened in our race is that when it comes to mental health and mental illness, our parents don't want to acknowledge that, because they have a misunderstanding that when you say the word mental illness, that means that their children are crazy or that they're crazy. And so there's a misunderstanding, misrepresentation, again, miseducation of what mental health really is and how our children need so much help in that area.
So let me just, I hear you, Stephanie. So let me just, I'm not playing devil's advocate, but I want to just provide the facts. So you talk about Blacks killing, shoot, like back in the 80s, when the crack epidemic, which was actually put into the neighborhoods, the Black neighborhoods. You talk about Blacks killing Blacks. Well, everybody will argue that even us, it doesn't matter what race, that the people in Chicago is Blacks killing Blacks. So if Blacks are killing Blacks in Chicago and LA and Detroit, whatever, then why should we be complaining when a cop shoot a Black person? I know we hear that all the time, right? We hear it in the news, we have people and have debate on it. So what's the difference then?
The difference, Blacks kill Blacks. One reason that we kill each other is because we don't identify with each other. We don't even identify with ourselves, and we have a lack of love for our own selves. And so it brings us into a place where we actually have self-hatred. And that develops over time. And then you're in a household where they are hating you, or you feel like you're being hated instead of being nurtured and, raised. You are being beaten just like a criminal on the street. And then, so this gives, since there's no more slavery, look, these people, these how shall I say, these police officers, they are in positions on purpose, a lot of them, to do just to keep slavery alive. That's all it is. That's all it is. These people, as I said earlier, these people have performed barbaric acts against humans. You think that hasn't passed down from generation to generation? It definitely has. And all they're doing is hiring police officers who have that same mentality, and that's what they do to our children. So the difference is, there's one that's a self-hatred that was also as a result of what has happened to us, that was probably caused from the PTSD. And then you have this barbaric nature being passed down generation to generation. And they get into these positions to do exactly what they do. That's exactly what they do. They kill us, and they can get away with it. I remember back in the 70s, I told my brother and his friends, my younger brother and his friends, I told them, don't talk to the police officer unless they ask you a question. Don't even say anything. Even you're not wrong, but don't you ask them, why are you pulling me? Don't ask anything, because they can take your life and get away with it.
Wow. So I'm sorry, Crystal. I'm taken back. Thank you, Stephanie. Crystal, you have anything you want to
add? What the main thing I want to add when you're talking about PTSD, we're not being treated for it. So whatever we take back in our household is an offshoot from it. So when our children come up and we're angry, we express our anger through a way that looks horrible or bad, or is hurting our families. We fight with our spouses. We fight with our children. This is all we know. Yeah. They split our families up in slavery. It's an intentional act to divide us. even when they wouldn't taking our fathers, when they weren't taking our husbands away from us in slavery, when thereafter, they took our husbands away from us when we didn't have income and we had welfare. They wanted the husbands out of the household. Everything that's been done to us as a people in America has been designed to break us, to tear us down, to keep us apart. That is what's happening to us. That's the internal struggle that we deal with in our families, in our households. I mean, did we just expect this was 400 years of mistreatment? Did we think it was going to disappear overnight? It's not. It's something that has to be evaluated. Like, we need reparations for it. We need mental illness treatment for it. We need a whole, people drink and do alcohol and drugs because they can't deal with life on its terms. The way, because I can go crazy. I'm gonna tell you, I have literally went into a depression for years at a time because I could not figure in my mind, how did I get here and how did life do this to me? Why? I'm sure that most men that are out, they think about this. I mean, they think about, what we're trying to do is kind of like act like our past didn't exist so we can move forward. And sometimes we can do it, and most times we can't. And I think that has a lot to do with, I hate to say this, but some of that interracial marriage, trying to escape from who you are. And I'm not, I mean, and of course, some of it is based on love, but you're trying to love a being that's so different and don't understand where you came from. I'm gonna tell you, because women, men, children of African descent, we have been subjected to a whole lot of stuff that has caused PTSD into us, and it's a vicious cycle. We take it to our families, we take it to our jobs, we take it home, we walk with it, we try. This is our life of managing our life. That's our job, to manage our lives. And we're managing them with a broken system, with like the same, brain that, that creates it. We try to manage it. We need help. We need help, seriously. That's all. I mean, so in order for us to stop it, first we have to address it. We got to understand it. We have to look at the sociology of it, and tell why we're like we are, and why we have so much little tolerance for each other, because it reminds us of ourselves, our weaknesses. When they see their son doing something, a man comes home, and it reminds him of what he had to cow down to. He tries to make his son strong and be this and be that, and don't want to do it through love, but through what he's learned, and that a lot of that's violence.